Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. Young and the Restless predictions. Sharon headed for a breakdown. Currently, on YNR, Sharon Newman is turning heads with her odd behavior. First, her daughter, Maria Copeland, noticed she was off when she went to visit her at home. She knocked on the door continuously, and when Sharon didn't answer, she let herself in and found her staring off into space. Later on Young and the Restless, Maria's wife, Tessa Porter, noticed it too. Now Sharon's youngest daughter, Faith Newman, is growing concerned. Recently, she became distraught while looking at photos of her deceased daughter, Cassie Newman. Of course, as a mother, that's only natural when you lose a child. However, it's not typical behavior for Sharon. She's acting out of character and it looks like the start of something big. Sharon finally front and center on YNR, at least now, Sharon Newman, Sharon case, seems to be getting a decent storyline on Young and the Restless. For a while there, she was rarely on screen and seemed to be getting sidelined by the showrunners. Sharon's fanbase is huge and they want to see her on the canvas regularly. Thankfully, they're getting their wish because things are shaking up for Sharon. But she may have a bumpy road ahead. Young and the Restless prediction. Mental health crisis ahead. No doubt, it's looking like the beginning of a crisis for Sharon. Fans know she suffers from bipolar disorder, but it's been under control for quite a while. However, her doctor recently put her on new meds for it, and it has her feeling out of sorts. That's what made Maria Copeland, Cameron Grimes, and Tessa Porter, Kate Fairbanks, begin to worry. And now her emotions are all over the place, which is concerning. Faith Newman, Raylan Castor, on Young and the Restless. Of course, there's a chance nothing will come if it. She told her doctor the new medication isn't sitting well with her, so he may take her off of it. However, it's likely the groundwork is being laid for a struggle for Sharon. Perhaps there's something underlying that her psychiatrist overlooked, something other than bipolar disorder. If so, she could be facing a real challenge soon, and this might be the beginning of a roller coaster ride for Sharon, on Young and the Restless. There are shakeups all over Genoa City on YNR. Tune in every day to see if Sharon Newman continues to spiral downward on the CBS daytime drama. In the heart of Genoa City, the summer sun glistened, casting a golden glow over the iconic crimson lights. Sharon Newman, its resilient proprietor, stood behind the counter, her mind a whirlwind of emotions and memories. It had been a challenging year, marked by turbulent relationships, family upheavals, and a relentless battle against cancer. While Sharon had always been a beacon of strength, recent events had begun to chip away at her unwavering facade. The bell above the door jingled, announcing a new customer. Sharon looked up, forcing a smile as she greeted familiar faces. Today her smile didn't reach her eyes. It was Phyllis Summers, her longtime rival turned uneasy ally, who entered the cafe. Phyllis, with her fiery red hair and sharp wit, immediately sensed the tension in the air. "Hey Sharon," Phyllis began, her tone unusually soft. "You look like you could use a friend." Sharon's eyes darted around the room, ensuring they were out of earshot of any eavesdroppers. "It's just everything, Phyllis. I feel like I'm barely holding it together." Phyllis nodded, leaning against the counter. "You've been through a lot. It's okay to feel overwhelmed." As the two women shared a rare moment of vulnerability, Nick Newman entered the cafe. Sharon's ex-husband and Phyllis's on-again off-again love interest, Nick's arrival always stirred a mix of emotions in Sharon. Today was no different. "Sharon," Nick said, his voice filled with concern. "I heard about Faith's latest stunt. Is she okay?" Sharon sighed, the weight of being a mother to a rebellious teenager adding to her stress. "She's fine, Nick. Just pushing boundaries like always." Nick reached out, placing a reassuring hand on Sharon's shoulder. "We'll get through this, Sharon. Together." But as much as Sharon appreciated Nick's support, she couldn't shake the feeling of impending doom. The pressure of managing her cafe, the constant worry about her children, and the lingering shadows of her past were all converging, threatening to pull her into a downward spiral. Later that evening, as the last customer left and Sharon locked the doors, she found herself alone in the dimly lit cafe. The silence was deafening, amplifying her thoughts and fears. She walked over to the counter, her fingers tracing the familiar outlines of the coffee machines and pastry displays. This place, once her sanctuary, now felt like a prison. Suddenly, the memories came flooding back. Her tumultuous relationships, the betrayal by Adam, the loss of Cassie, and her recent health scare. Each memory was a dagger, piercing her already fragile heart. Sharon sank to the floor, tears streaming down her face. She felt utterly alone, despite the many people who cared for her. As the hours ticked by, Sharon's thoughts grew darker. She wondered if she had the strength to keep fighting, to keep pretending that everything was okay. The weight of her struggles was suffocating, and for the first time in a long time, Sharon felt truly defeated. The next morning, Sharon awoke on the cold, hard floor of Crimson Lights. She hadn't even realized she had fallen asleep. Her body ached and her mind was foggy. She slowly got up, wincing at the stiffness in her joints. She needed help, but the thought of reaching out was daunting. Admitting she wasn't okay felt like admitting defeat. As she opened the cafe, trying to put on a brave face for her customers, Maria Copeland walked in. Sharon's daughter had always been a source of strength for her, but even Maria couldn't always see through her mother's mask. "Mom, are you okay?" Maria asked, her brow furrowed with worry. Sharon forced a smile. "I'm fine, sweetheart. Just a little tired." But Maria wasn't convinced. She had seen her mother at her lowest and knew the signs of an impending breakdown. "Mom, you need to take care of yourself. We all need you, but you can't keep going like this." Sharon's facade finally cracked. She burst into tears, and Maria rushed to her side, holding her tightly. "I don't know what to do, Maria. Everything feels so overwhelming." Maria's heart broke for her mother. She knew Sharon had always been a fighter, but even the strongest warriors needed a break. "We'll get through this, Mom. You're not alone." With Maria's support, Sharon began to take small steps towards healing. She reached out to a therapist, started attending support groups, and allowed herself to lean on her loved ones. It wasn't easy, and there were days when she felt like giving up, but slowly, Sharon began to rediscover her strength. Throughout her journey, Sharon learned that it was okay to not be okay. She realized that asking for help was a sign of strength, not weakness. And most importantly, she understood that she didn't have to face her struggles alone. As the weeks turned into months, Sharon's resilience began to shine through once more. She reconnected with her passion for running Crimson Lights.